You abducted me and now you're complaining? Hi, how are you? You must be trying to decompress from the stress of being an adult. Same. I have a lot going on right now, but the video scripts are really piling up and they must be purged. It has been a month, let me tell you. I'm not gonna tell you. Anyways, it's movie day. I thought we'd look at another animated movie. Animation doesn't always get the credit that it deserves. The animation industry is in a lot of trouble right now. They're not doing so hot. AI is just really ruining so much, and a lot of people are losing their jobs. It's pretty sad. I do hope that it gets better for those people who unfortunately lost their jobs. The job market is very difficult right now. Trust me, I'm very aware. Part of me wants to review Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That movie has been living rent-free in my head since I saw it a year ago. I only saw it once. Not sure if I can ever watch it again. Therein lies the problem. I haven't almost cried during a movie in I don't know how long, and then the end scene send off of each characters really just wrecked me. I've never been so invested in a fictional genetically altered raccoon or space people. I do want to preface this video by saying we will be discussing a bit about human history. This movie does have some historical elements, so some of the scenes that you will see may be disturbing. They're not graphic or anything, but they are historical and they do signify important historical events relevant to the movie. So we are going to be talking a little bit about slavery, racism, trafficking, which is just another word for slavery, and whatever else I decide to talk about relating to these topics. If history offends you, well, get in line. Just compare the things that people call racist today to what happened 400 years ago and see how things changed over time. Whenever I watch a movie that has like interesting facts or clearly portrays a very specific time in history, I do like to tie in some research with that when I share it with you guys, or something like with the type of animation itself. Without doing so, the context of the movie could be all over the place. Either way, you'll yell at me in the comments for not talking enough, or talking too much. And upon those people, I wish many Lego foot injuries, because as my YouTube banner says, I am a commentary channel. I disclose it in every video. So if you have an issue with me talking in a commentary video, I do strongly recommend that you get off the internet, go to the gym. I don't really care what you do, but you gotta get up out of here. This movie was originally in French. But when you and we are watching some of the pre-selected scenes in this movie, you'll know why they're speaking the way that they are. I feel like I always have to say that because whenever I see movie reviews online for foreign movies, a lot of those are often lowly rated just for the sole fact that the people speaking don't sync with the audio. It's not the result of poor animation, it's the result of poor reading skills. Because the people that leave these reviews don't bother to do a 15-second web search and find out that the movie originated elsewhere. After all, movies are only made in America. There's no other countries that possess the ability to create films. Anywhere else would be preposterous. We had a monster in Paris, a cat in Paris, and I present to you Dilili in Paris. Dilili in Paris is an animated movie that was made in 2018 and it's rated PG. Directed and written by Michael Ocelot. I forgot to look up the pronunciation of his name, so if I pronounced it wrong, I'm sorry. He got up early in the morning, ventured out into the city of Paris, and shot pictures before it got all people-y. Now that's dedication. The less people there are in the photo, the less editing that they had to do later. It features a 6-year-old Kanak girl named Delili. I will say that the movie ratings that I saw on Google, I think some of those were for the French version, which has more scenes in it, and they don't think some of them are appropriate for kids, both in scenes and in subtitles. Therefore, the one that I watched was edited and censored for release in America. That is very understandable. I don't have access to that one. I only have access to the US one. Sorry. As you can see in the beginning of this movie, a little village is set up. Delili works in what is called a human zoo. It's set up in the middle of a public park. During this exhibit, this random guy climbs a tree to meet her. Maybe because she looks so different.
You know how speak my tongue?
Yes, better than you.
I would like to learn more about you.
I as well.
I don't actually know how old he is. He kind of looks like a teenager. A teenager that lives on his own. He doesn't look like he's very old, so maybe he's like 16 or so.
My name is Delili.
Mine's Orel.
I don't know.
Likewise. I brought some fries for you.
Fried potatoes, my favorite food group.
Thank you.
but the chewing noise enrages me. First thing I noticed was the animation. It consists of 2D animation and photography, so I think the closest cartoon that comes to mind if I had to compare would be The Amazing World of Gumball. That show had a similar animation style. They set the animated characters against a photograph background in many of the scenes. She is mixed race from New Caledonia, located in the Southwest Pacific Islands.
And I ended up traveling in luxury. The dearest countess taught me all the words and all the manners.
Dilili experiences mixed kid problems.
I also wanted to travel to a country where I wouldn't be rejected for having skin too fair.
Mixed kid problems. Let's see, what's an example? Sometimes it's like you're too black to be around white people, but you're too white when you're around black people. You're just in the middle. Like if you straighten your hair, people will tell you to stop trying to be white. True story. You want me to stop being 50% of myself? How about you worry about your ex that you keep going back to? Focus on that.
Here, they don't tell me that my complexion is too light. They tell me that it's too dark.
Then there's people who always want to touch your hair, which I am personally not a fan of.
I'm a courier.
Another young girl has been abducted! The male masters have struck again!
Throughout the film, she investigates, yes, a 6-year-old investigates the mystery of the missing girls.
The police are on high alert. You should never go out alone.
That we will unravel the mystery of the male masters, and we will set free all of those girls. My carriage is here.
You might be rich, but are you a horse with a gold-trimmed carriage rich?
Goodbye, Orel.
All over the city, girls and women are being taken. What better investigator of missing kids than a kid who's literally a stowaway? That's how she actually got to France.
What are you writing?
The names of all the people that I meet.
Male masters robbed another jewelry store!
Stop, please. I'd like to see the poster. Public Talk by Louise Michel. Human Rights, Men with Women.
There's quite a few historical figures in this movie. The first one is Louise Michel.
She is someone who always says what she thinks is right, no matter what they do to her. She even once participated in a revolution.
Louise Michel was a French anarchist who toured Europe in the 1800s giving speeches. Delili and Orel begin to travel throughout the city, and this exemplary human being is following them. So pay attention to him. He will make several more appearances.
I was admiring you yesterday while I was passing by.
Sir, take it down a notch. Nobody's this enthusiastic.
I was completely amazed with you.
This is the 1800s version of a guy in a van asking for help to find his puppy.
I feel so lucky that I get to see you again.
Stranger danger.
I am looking to purchase a skip rope for my goddaughter.
Creepy.
Please help me pick out the perfect skip rope for her. Come here, my sweet little fairy. I can carry you over there.
Don't you bother, good sir. I will take her.
Sometimes Orel transports children like an old school Uber.
This is Delili. Why don't you two come in?
He brings Eve back to her mother, Marie Curie.
The young girl was abducted in Montmartre in front of the Bateau de Bois.
They find out yet another girl goes missing during their pie break. Marie Curie was a Polish physicist and chemist. She accomplished a lot. Her career is full of firsts. Here's a mini history lesson on this remarkable woman for you. She was the first woman professor at the University of Paris, and she really did have a daughter named Eve. Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize for studying physics, and she was the only person to win it in 2 scientific fields. The other was in chemistry, with her husband Pierre Curie being her co-winner. She and her husband started a family of Nobel Prize winners because this made them the first married couple ever to win it, and their daughter went on to receive her own Nobel Prize in chemistry with her husband. She was almost excluded from winning the Nobel Prize simply because she was a woman. The audacity of her to discover 2 new elements on the periodic table, polonium and radium, and work on the theory of radioactivity, but in the end, she got her bag. In World War I, she developed medical equipment such as mobile radiography unit. This would allow field hospitals to have x-rays done. She subsequently died at the age of 66 from aplastic anemia. That is a condition that was from her constantly being exposed to radiation as part of her life's work. Her lab notebooks are even radioactive. If you want to visit the National Library of France and get a look at the lead-lined boxes, you go right ahead and do that. Don't forget the protective suit. You have to sign a waiver. The radium content should break down in about 5,000 years. So they picked a very interesting woman to add as a character in this movie, and that's something that I wasn't paying attention to the first time I watched it. As they follow their next clue, they arrive at Picasso's house.
They didn't even try to hide what they did.
Yes, that Picasso. You know, the painter and sculptor that created over 20,000 pieces of artwork. Him.
A nice-looking gentleman offered to take her home because she looked so tired. The young girl was inside of the car and it disappeared, heading over the hilltop.
People said that the automobile was heading towards the old Devil's Mill.
So the male masters are what they call the kidnappers that are taking these girls off the street. I forgot to say that earlier.
The old Devil's Mill. You stay here. I'll check around inside.
There is no way that I'm staying here alone.
You know kids don't listen. I just want to know why they made the dog red. I just want to know. Such an odd color choice. The horses and people have natural colors, but this dog is just plain red. It's just me complaining, but still.
He has died because of rabies. The male masters have found a horrible way to get rid of intruders.
My friend is wounded. He's got the rabies.
How the tables have turned. Now that's how you clear a street.
This is her automobile and her driver. He's not nice.
Don't park that there! It's in my way!
Sir, who peed in your creme brulee?
Why is that girl dressed up like that?
I completely understand your reaction, sir, as I have a similar reaction. Your face reminds me irresistibly of a great pig.
Well, is she wrong? Kids really have no filter. They're so serious in the most unserious way.
Here you are, my friends.
An underground lake, that's not something that you see every day. This is a really elaborate way of transportation.
Really convenient when I need to escape from my fans.
Your fan base being so overbearing that you need to escape in a tunnel. Y'all are great, but get away from me. There's something about Orel's face that doesn't sit well with me. Like, in the process of making him pretty, he doesn't fit in with the rest of the character design. Everyone else looks so different. Other historical figures in this movie are Claude Monet, Alexandre Gustave Eiffel, Francois Auguste Rene Rodin. I hope I pronounced those correctly. Monet, I know I pronounced right. Claude Monet was the artist who lived with his child-free, widowed, and wealthy aunt after his mother passed away. He's there on the left with his painting called The Water Lilies. The man on the right is Pierre-Auguste Renoir with his painting titled Dance in the Country. What is that? Okay, I'm using a different camera because the other one keeps shutting off. I just lost like a good 10 minutes of what I was saying. Anyways, Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec makes an appearance. He was a real person, a printmaker, a painter, draftsman, a caricaturist, and an illustrator. This is one of his paintings, oil on canvas, called The Laundress.
Let me see.
An interesting fact about Henri is that he broke both of his femurs and they didn't heal correctly, so it left him standing at just 5 feet tall because his legs stopped growing. Also, his parents were first cousins, and many people believe that was the reason that he had pycnodysostosис, which is a disease of the bones. This disease is sometimes called Toulouse-Lautrec syndrome now.
Chocolat, how are you?
Hello, sir.
What is your profession?
I work in a circus.
Chocolat was a real person, and his real name was Raphael Padilla.
People kick my bottom, and it makes the audience happy.
His job was to be a clown, and just think, some of you are out here doing it for free. In the 1900s, he traveled around with a circus. He was born to slaves that worked a Cuban plantation, but then they left him to be raised by somebody else. The woman that was left to raise him, she then sold Raphael to a businessman in Spain. Raphael wasn't a slave, but that didn't prevent others from treating him, the only black person, just like a slave, refusing to educate him and making him sleep in the stables. He got into clownery after meeting a clown named Tony Grice. Tony had his own version of minstrel shows. Ooh, those are fun, just like America had. And he would bring Raphael in. Eventually, though, Raphael left. He actually helped to make clown comedy popular. Raphael was born with no surname, and he died without one. He worked with George Foote while trying to combat the stereotypes in his performances. Raphael's shows consisted of his character slowly turning into the Negro scapegoat, which is the perception of being childish and silly. While the story of Delili isn't real, many of the characters were based on very real people that made a change in the world in some way. I thought it was great to incorporate them into the story. It makes it much more interesting. The guy with the door knocker in his nose consistently tries to blend in, and as you can see, he follows Orel and Delili around a lot. Remember I told you to keep your eyes on him? He's shifty.
tomorrow. We'll go to the police. They'll arrest them in no time.
The next day.
What do you want me to do with all these stories about Sarah Bernhardt, secret weapons, and even the gate of hell?
It is your job, sir, and not ours.
You didn't like that logic?
Get out!
This man is the epitome of how people are nowadays. You try to argue facts, people want to use feelings to prove themselves right. Oh, it is about to hit the fan.
Please help me, child.
Just a poor, defenseless old man, not.
What have you done with all the girls you abducted?
The nose door knocker really gives you away. Be wary of everyone with a nose ring in this movie.
I will carry you on my tricycle to the police.
Yeah, you better run. It's a sign that they're coming to get you.
Oh, not yet.
Move it along, I'm all out of time card.
Is it me or is that woman glowing?
You shouldn't play in the middle of the street, silly girl. Learn to behave, you rude little brat.
That horse said, peace.
Two should go away now, or I'm putting you in jail with those two.
Imagine being outsmarted by a first grader.
I witnessed the whole scene.
What do you do?
Delili carries around a little pad and paper where she writes down people's professions. She's trying to decide what she wants to be when she grows up.
Not much, to be honest.
How do you make a living?
So take notes, folks, because she's taking notes.
My mother sends me money. She is a queen.
This guy.
You really do not do anything with your time?
I live.
What do you do for a living? Live?
You have become the most famous girl in all of Paris, but also the most wanted person by the mail masters.
Orel's friend Sarah actually cares about her safety.
Lebeuf will take you home and he will bring you back here later.
That little girl is famous now. When will the mail masters put an end to this scandal? Quite soon.
He's everywhere. He's like a fungus.
She is the one who should be your driver and wait for your orders.
It's too late. They got to him.
You are a mail master.
Behold, the 19th century podcast, bro. Hey, you want to be in on a little secret? You look like alpha male material. Buy my course for only $4.99.99. I can turn you into an alpha male.
Where is Dilili?
They can hear us from out here. Let's go to the lake.
He and Sarah join Lebeuf at the underground lake where Lebeuf spills all the tea.
And he said I had what it takes to be a powerful male master myself. I only had to give them the girl Delili.
You're one of us.
It's time to get claustrophobic. You thought the movie was weird just up to this point. I have good news for you. It gets weirder. This is the weirdest part of the movie. Don't get me wrong, the whole movie is weird to me.
Why do we kidnap little girls?
In order to save the world.
That calorie surplus man is the male master leader, the podcast bro that surpasses all podcast bros. One of those men who sits in the basement with a neck beard, eating Doritos, telling women online that they're fat and ugly and no one will love them. I am once again body shaming a fictional character, just so we're clear.
The natural law has been flouted by women.
Hello, how y'all doing?
But there is nothing that I've seen that falls under this weirdness, at least in cartoons.
All of these females.
Doesn't get any more male podcastier than that.
There are no women here.
And this is where the weirdness is turned up to 11.
What do you mean, no women? You are sitting on one.
This is so exasperating.
A foreleg must never look at a man. I can't even walk anymore.
Really?
I need 4 forelegs to support my seats.
They did enough to make you hate him, which isn't a lot.
First, we abducted some of your grown-up forelegs. We had too much difficulty in making them submit.
So this is where Just Pearly Things got her idea for women to be with men as young as possible. The younger you are, the more impressionable. Abducting full-grown women when their brains are already formed. You can't sway them with your tomfoolery.
We are about to abduct every young girl in Paris. And there will be order in Paris!
She's leaving pages from her notebook behind. I have to go.
Go to the left.
Yes, thank you.
Delili is smart, in case you have not noticed. We all knew that she was smart, but leaving a literal paper trail is a genius move.
1, 2, 1. A 04 must never answer back to me.
Listen, I want to be here anyway.
On your 4 legs! On your 4 legs!
Imagine giving the kidnappers as much grief as possible and they just let you go because you're so annoying.
Do something like that again, and I will throw you deep into the sewers.
You abducted me and now you're complaining? I'd rather be swept away in the sewer too. Peace.
You cannot imprison the sewage.
What a brave child.
Have you come to capture me and take me back?
No.
So he changed his mind after a brief stint as a criminal. Less than a day, they couldn't get to him.
I'm here to liberate you.
Gee, thanks, Lebeuf. I mean, you did send her here in the first place. Way to go, traumatizing a child. Although if you didn't do that, who knows when this layer would have been discovered.
Several days later.
Alberto is commissioned to make an airship powered by people.
I could try to add a pedal-powered propeller, but 20 girls!
There is no way those young ladies should be released without participating. They will pedal.
Okay, she was very insistent that they pedal. I mean, as long as they all escape, right? The police commissioner is in cahoots with the criminal ring.
A four-leg.
Just like a monster in Paris, the police commissioner being corrupt is probably the worst case scenario.
I came to Paris to study since women aren't allowed in universities in my country.
Just think, there are men that think women are servants, that they're superior to everyone.
It's only Justinia, my cheetah.
This cat is the most random thing, but still, it's a cat, and we are happy about it. 2 weeks later, everything's in place.
Just because you are about to risk your life doesn't mean you should be poorly dressed.
What logic is that? That doesn't make any sense. That's like me wearing a 3-piece suit or this dress to go scrub toilets. That's not even girl math. That's worse than girl math. She wants to look fancy so that after the rescue, she can potentially meet a bunch of the kids' parents. This is quite the elaborate plan and machinery.
Gladly throw her in the sewers as she was threatening all of the others.
Never again on all fours. Have a seat.
It's the sun, the night, and the day.
Ugh, they're singing. She turned a dramatic rescue into a concert. It's free publicity. Man, this movie's weird.
Hello, I'm the greatest impresario in Paris. Do this for me every night, and your fortune will be made.
Yeah, that's the end. So final thoughts on Delili in Paris. This movie was weird. It gets weirder. Watch it for yourself and draw your own conclusions. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and turn on notifications because I try to upload every single week. I have gone a couple of weeks without uploading. I'm not gonna apologize for that because life happens. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not gonna apologize for stuff happening to me. And I will see you in the next video. Toodaloo. You look like alpha male material.